Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and good to see you again, Chairman Jovanovic. The Export-Import Bank plays an important role in supporting American jobs and ensuring exporters can compete globally. In fact, there's a couple of Nebraska companies, Reinke Irrigation and Deschler and Preferred Popcorn and Chapman that are really helped by the program there. So thank you for that. And for states like Nebraska, that means supporting agricultural producers, equipment manufacturers, such as the ones I just mentioned, industrial exporters who compete in a tough global marketplace. But today, those markets are increasingly shaped not by fair competition, but by state-directed financing from Communist China. Communist China is our country's greatest existential external threat. Communist China has and continues to deploy state-backed export financing at a scale that outpaces the U.S. In 2024 alone, Communist China's official export credit agencies provided over $23 billion in medium and long-term financing compared to roughly $5.9 billion from the U.S. If you were to take the average of China's medium and long-term export financing from 2015 to 2024, it would be $25.31 billion a year. Over that same period, the U.S. averaged $2.91 billion per year. The EXIM Bank's 2025 competitiveness report to Congress confirmed these results. The report also shares that U.S. exporter and banking communities continue to view EXIM Bank as not competitive in the medium and long-term financing arena. Chairman Jovanovic, I know you haven't been in the role for very long, but how do you explain the recent low ratings on competitiveness from the export community and our stagnant levels of medium and long-term financing over the years?
The United States is in a financing war with China, and it is getting destroyed. In 2024, China's export credit agencies deployed $23 billion to back their companies in global markets. America deployed $6 billion. Zoom out to the 10-year average and it gets embarrassing. China, $25 billion a year. The U.S., not even $3 billion. Those are the numbers Senator Pete Ricketts threw at EXIM Bank Chairman John Jovanovic during a Senate Banking Committee hearing on March 26th. EXIM is the federal agency specifically designed to counter this kind of state-backed foreign competition. One job, and its own competitiveness report admits the export community does not think it is getting done. Jovanovic walked into that hearing with a clock ticking over his head. EXIM's charter expires December 31st. No reauthorization, no new deals. And this is not hypothetical. Congress already let this agency go brain dead once. From 2015 to 2019, EXIM had no quorum. Could not approve anything over $10 million. 4 years of nothing while China financed ports, power grids, and telecom networks across 3 continents. 30 new export credit agencies opened for business globally during that window. America was not even at the table. Ricketts wants to know what has changed. Jovanovic has had 6 months to answer that question. Let us see if he can.
First off, I think it's really important to note that for quite a long time, EXIM has been hobbled by first not having a quorum for 4 years. And I know that sounds like it was a long time ago, but we're just starting to clear the scar tissue from not having a clear authorization and not giving the market a very clear signal that we're here to stay. That's number one. Number two, what I learned in my first 100 days, and a lot of this was actually informed by the very helpful book that you shared with me when we were together in your chamber about Six Sigma, was really about bringing a data-driven approach and promoting accountability and transparency. And so what I found, Senator Ricketts, is people want to win. And I manage a building that's filled with mission-driven people, whether you're a political appointee or you're a career employee. And so giving them a very clear sense of what a win looks like, giving them a very clear set of priorities, and pushing and working together has really made a difference. And so whether it's Project Vault, which is a very key puzzle piece, and we hope a beginning to a whole set of solutions to address supply chain insecurity, de-risk our supply chains, create markets that are free, fair, functioning again, and that's critical. America wins, U.S. companies win, our allies thrive when we have markets that are free, fair, and functioning, and that's what we want to help promote.
Okay, great. Well, outside of needing our help on reauthorization, how are you planning course correction at EXIM Bank to boost your competitiveness in this area?
It's already begun. And so what we've done is we've actually taking down a lot of silos. It's very difficult to eliminate those errors and reduce that variability across outcomes if you do. We very much need the hiring authority that we're discussing here today. It's mission critical. And finally, what we really need to do is send that very clear signal, because we've studied in preparation for not just this hearing, but for our proposal, how recent reauthorizations have affected the bank's operations. And any confusion or any concern that the bank won't be reauthorized in a timely and smooth manner really sets a chill through the market, and people just put pencils down with us, Senator Ricketts, and we can't afford that. We've got a $71 billion pipeline, 45,000 jobs at stake that we want to help support. So many of those small businesses. We just want to keep doing what we're doing.
Great. Let me, the time remaining, just real briefly on CTEP, the EXIM Bank Inspector General's 2024 review of CTEP shared that the disproportionate share of EXIM's activity has been focused on 2 of the 10 buckets, wireless communications and critical minerals. We've talked about the importance of critical minerals, but there's also semiconductors, biotech, quantum. We just talked a little bit from Senator Kim about quantum AI. Can you just quickly give us a status and the update on some of those other areas and how you're going to focus resources on those so that we can make progress there as well?
We're aggressively pursuing all 10. But what we've learned in short order is that you need the subject matter experts to properly pursue those.
So it gets back to the hiring authority to get the right people.
They're complex. You can't fake it. You can't learn it on the fly, and especially when you're putting hard-earned taxpayer dollars at work.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Here is what this hearing actually told us. The man running America's export credit agency went before Congress and admitted 3 things he did not want to say out loud. His agency cannot hire fast enough to cover the sectors Congress told it to cover. His agency loaded nearly all its China program resources into 2 of 10 mandated technology areas. And his agency's survival depends entirely on whether this Congress can pass a bill before the calendar runs out. That last part should terrify anyone who has watched Congress operate. Ricketts framed this as a China problem, and the raw numbers back him up. 23 billion versus 6 billion last year, an 8-to-1 ratio over the past decade on average. EXIM's Inspector General confirmed the China program barely touched semiconductors, quantum, biotech, or AI. Congress reserved $27 billion for this fight. Cumulative lending has been a fraction of that, but Jovanovic landed one punch that stuck. He told the committee that every time reauthorization becomes uncertain, the private sector walks away. Companies pull applications. Foreign buyers find other lenders. A $71 billion deal pipeline and 45,000 jobs sit frozen because Washington cannot commit. China does not have this problem. Beijing does not vote on whether to fund its own trade weapons. It just writes the check. So the real question is not whether EXIM should be reauthorized. It is whether America is serious about economic competition or just serious about talking about it. Because right now the scoreboard says China is playing the game and the United States is still arguing over whether to buy a ticket. Subscribe for more breakdowns like this. Tell me in the comments, permanent authorization or congressional oversight? Like, share, and I will see you in the next one.